Hey, everybody, welcome back here to another Vendor Voice with the Blue Collar Success Group. I'm your host, Chris Crew, and today I am super excited to have RB on with us today from Insperity. RB, how you doing today?
Doing great, Chris.
Good, RB. Good to have you on, man. I'm super excited to be talking about this because before we jump down the rabbit trail of who Insperity is and what they do, I know that contractors struggle with this area of the business, what you guys do and the problems that you guys solve to make go away. Tell me a little bit about the experience that you guys have when you guys interact with contractors.
Well, it's wide and varied, right? It's determining what their needs are, and if there are specific HR needs or workers' comp needs, we have a business discussion first to find out how we can assist. Maybe they've got some gaps that they need filled in. Maybe they're doing everything just perfectly, but we have that business conversation with them.
Yeah, and so when we talk about, I mean, gosh, HR is so big. When we think of HR, RB, I think of things like recruiting and hiring. Do you guys handle anything at all around recruiting and hiring?
We do. Typically, when we hear people talk about HR, it's like they're in trouble.
Yep.
And that's, I've got to go see HR. It's like going to see the school principal.
Yep.
Uh, but our HR is strategic as well as, tactical. So you have a lot of things going on that are kind of the blocking and tackling of HR, which we handle, the
Mm.
payroll, the employee handbooks, that kind of stuff, typical. But then there's, hey, we've got some people that want to kind of develop. They want to be, they see a position that they're not at yet, and maybe they want to work their way up towards that. We assist the business owner with their employees getting there.
Oh man, yes, music to my ears, RB. I was just on earlier this morning with someone and we talked about this, and we believe here at the Blue Collar Success Group that that is one of the four keys to not only recruiting but retaining top talent. What I mean by that is a lot of times people aspire to be more. They want to do more in an organization. They want to become something more than they are today, and that goes back to development. And if an organization doesn't focus on helping develop their people, what we found is that those people don't stay, right? If I've got a team member that's hungry and wants to develop, but there is no clear pathway and there certainly is no development plan at all, those people end up leaving and going to work for the competitor. And so if I'm hearing you correctly, you guys help with that. Is that correct?
True. Yeah, think about it's a brush fire. Somebody wants to create more of a bonfire, and we're going to add that fuel. That's what Insperity can help business owners do and evaluate, who the employee is, help them get to where they want to go, but all along the way, the pathway is staying with, the aligned goals of the company and the business owner. That's really what it's strategic about it.
Interesting. When I think of and by the way, for our listeners, I want to jump into this because I don't want them to get lost in the conversation, not knowing who Insperity is and what they do. So we're talking HR, but really what we're talking about, RB, is you guys are a PEO. So maybe tell me exactly what is a PEO.
Well, Chris, we actually have two platforms. One is our what we call HR 360. That's our PEO platform. And we have another platform called HR Core. The two different pathways, right? The PEO, which is an acronym for Professional Employers Organization. Think of it as a bundled solution, everything wrapped up into one beautiful little, package there.
Mhm.
Payroll, benefits, retirement, compliance, all workers' comp, all of that rolled into one. The other one, HR core, would be HR support, payroll, but maybe the business owner has a family member that's their healthcare broker or has their best buddy that handles their 401k. So those might be separate. That's more of a traditional model. So we have both platforms to meet a business owner where they are, but if they want to start on HR core and then kind of graduate to HR 360, we help them do that.
Oh wow. And so RB, help me with this. What do you typically find are the core reasons why companies and contractors seek out what I'm going to call outsourcing that portion of the business? Why do they typically do that?
Well, there's a lot of reasons, but the main reason is how many business owners do you know that are SHRM certified, Society of Human Resource Management certified, to be able to do things compliantly, right? None, virtually. So they don't know if they're getting ready to potentially step on a landmine that might cause them an EEO claim. A lot of people look to us for that compliant reason, and that's what we assist them with. But a lot of people also look at us as, hey, there's a benefit package there that we can get, and it looks pretty, but they stay because of the HR team that services them. So that's really the attraction retention tool that the PEO version brings. So it fits well with wherever a business owner is who might want to offer those things.
Interesting. And so it ultimately, if I'm hearing you correctly, it becomes a pain point, right, in the business. Do you typically find that there's a certain size of business that decides to go the PEO model versus the traditional?
That's a great question. Yeah, so there in Insperity, and I'm going to dive just a little bit into that if you don't mind, which is we have different divisions to accommodate a business owner where they are. I sit in the national accounts division, which is typically smaller versions of things, which would be a business maybe as small as 5 employees
Hmm.
and going up to maybe, 16, 18. Our average size client at our company through our core market is 22 employees. And then we have our mid-market size, which starts at 150 employees, but their average size client in mid-market is 350. And then we have enterprise that starts at 750 and goes into the
Ho-
thousands.
Hold on, RB. So I'm thinking just in my mind, oh, PEO sounds like a solution for a small business that doesn't have the time and professionalism and expertise to be able to run their HR department. I'm hearing you say there's enterprise companies with up to 700 team members that still use a PEO.
Absolutely.
I'm talking to our contractors today. Don't believe that you're not a good fit for this. And I would say that, during my time as owning a service business, I strongly considered moving to a PEO because of what you just said, which is I want experts in my corner. As you're building and growing your business can become a potential target. RB, I think you referred to it as a landmine, like stepping on a
Right.
potential landmine, where we could potentially be in uncharted waters as an owner and operator in situations that we never knew that we were going to get into, right? So
Yeah,
tell me a
Chris,
little bit
one
about.
of the, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. One of the things I would say to business owners is, especially if they're multi-state and they have employees in
Oh,
multiple states, it becomes a compliance nightmare. And you asked earlier, why would, somebody look at doing this? And the compliance piece becomes something of, it's almost, people take a deep breath and hold their breath and hope they don't get into trouble, where we can allow them to kind of relax because our company's in all 50 states already. We're a national company, so we help them with all of that stuff right up front. They don't have to worry about it.
so let's just take an example. I'm an HVAC plumbing electrical company today, and I outsource people in my call center, or I outsource a marketing person, or I outsource some person that's in another state. And I think that my handbook and my labor laws and my compensation plan line up perfectly with my state. But if I'm hearing you correctly, there's also that potential. And by the way, let me say, this is not a pitch on fear. This is not a fear pitch. This is a protection, right? Be in the know and
Yes.
be educated. That's why we've got RB as the expert on today to kind of talk about what are some potential blind spots that contractors could have. And I'm saying I don't even think about that. I'm in California working, and I've got an employee that's in Oregon, or I'm in Missouri and I've got an employee that's in Texas. Like, people, I don't think people think about that from labor attorneys. So that's a really good point. Well, when you look at, what do you typically see as it relates to, let's go team member retention for a minute and satisfaction? Because, hey, all of a sudden it's all outsourced. It's not personal to me anymore. Tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about how Insperity makes a difference there around team member retention and satisfaction.
This is really at the crux of what Insperity is. Insperity was started in 1986 by our CEO, Paul Sarvati. and Paul is still our CEO, but we were and still are an HR company first. All of the other things that we bring to bear are really the depth and breadth of all of our product services are because what Paul recognizes at the very beginning is the biggest asset to a business owner is their employees. So
Mm,
if the mindset is to take care of the employees first and foremost, typically we find that there's a match there for us to go ahead and work with this particular business.
mm.
It's not always a fit everywhere, but those are things that we find critical, and these are also things then that allows a business owner to hire, go ahead and develop culture because they either have culture by default or by design. And if you do culture by design, typically you're listening to your people and you're going to be a lot more successful.
RB, I don't know if you know this, but you just literally stole one of my favorite sayings. And it's these two words right here, and it's so beautifully for me. It's clearly articulated in the choice of words here. You said it's either by design or by default, and when it's by design, it's intentional. When it's by default, it's on autopilot, and we use that often as it relates to businesses, right? And your personal life, and your goals, and your objectives, and so you really that was like a beautiful musical note for me. Like you couldn't have nailed that one any better. I hear people say all the time, like, "Oh, we're a people first organization. We're a people first organization." RB, what do you see as being a people first organization? What's the benefit of that?
Well, it to me, and I can explain it just my own personal experience working for Insperity. We are a HR company and we have leaders and we're publicly traded. And if they weren't doing what they say they do to us, how could they deliver it to their clients? And working for Insperity is a wonderful place to be able to work to. I'm honored to be able to work here for 8 years. It is a wonderful place. And what we do is because of the teams that work here, we take that same knowledge and the way we're being treated, and we do that with our clients.
Mm,
And if we can then translate that into the client base, now they're doing it for the people that work for them, it all becomes intentional and it all makes the employees feel more valued, that they're being taken care of, and discretionary effort becomes automatic. So you might actually get better return on your workforce if you take care of them better. So that's really what this all comes down to.
wow. And this is it. This is it, folks. When you really focus on your people, you heard RB say it, like they're the most important people, right? It's the most important thing in the organization is your people. And I've always said this. I wish there was almost a way to like get people on the balance sheet, right? As an asset, right? Because they're just tremendous assets. And when we really look at that, here's also what I heard as well. Um, Everything's a trickle down effect. And so when you partner with Insperity, what you're getting an organization that is a people organization, but a people first organization. Is that what I'm also hearing?
Yes.
Wow. And, I know many of us, when we think of HR, we think of, oh no, somebody's in trouble, right? But there's actually some pretty fun and exciting stuff around HR. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do outside. I know we talked a little bit about the two paths, but let's just kind of unpackage a little bit about Insperity and what you guys do.
Well, as far as our models go, right, the two different pathways, they are intentional for a business owner to determine it along with us. We have that business discussion called a discovery call, and it is to learn what their goals are. So intentionally, we're looking to find out, hey, give us three things. What's primary for you to address? How can we help you? And then we make a recommendation, typically at the end of that discovery call. I think it's going to be more, this direction or that direction based upon the answers to the questions that we're going to be asking. So it's really just an open dialogue like we're having here. We don't sell. In fact, the titles that we're all given are advisors, and that's what we
Mm,
do. We don't sell this, we advise. And a lot of people who I have actually ended up having clients come back to me because I told them, no, you're not ready, or no, I don't think it's a fit, or hey, let's work on it when timing is better. I think that that's a better way of doing this than trying to push somebody into something.
Mm, yeah, good point. Advising and guiding, and so you heard it first from RB. By the way, let me just stop and say this. So Insperity is a PEO. You heard RB say this, a professional employment organization where they handle all of the what I'm going to call the hard stuff, right? You guys handle the hard stuff, but I mean, let's just run through a whole host of things that you guys do. I mean, you guys handle handbooks. I mean, tell me a little bit more about what all you guys do.
Yeah, many things, right? So we are a certified PEO through the IRS. So it is conditional upon us to provide more detailed reporting on payroll, for example. And if
Mm,
somebody starts a business in the middle of the year with us, they've come over, the employees don't have tax restarts for federal taxes. And that sometimes can be a big issue if you've got a lot of employees and they're looking to move everybody over and they got to do tax restarts. Well, they don't with us. But when you think about this, right? Obviously, healthcare is a big issue. We provide that.
mm,
We provide, dental, vision, life insurance, AD&D, long-term disability, short-term disability, all of the things that typically Fortune 500 companies provide to their employees. But now it goes down to, let's say, this 12-person company. They look and act like a 50-person company, right? So it operates in that genre. So compliance for HR, federal, state, local laws, benefits administration, workers' comp administration. We true up work comp real time for our HR 360 clients. HR services, they get a dedicated, permanent named service team to help them. So these are the points at which, when it talk about how we can affect a business, the HR team that supports them is going to sit with the owner. So, hey, what is it that you want to accomplish in this relationship, right? You've got a bunch of employees here, and how many of them want to, career path, go
mm.
up higher in the food chain? So, that's just a lot of things. They have custom comp plans, all of these different things. I can go on forever, but the depth and breadth of all of our service model in the HR 360 is huge. I would say let's narrow it down and then focus on that with the business owner.
You said something that caught my attention, and it was this. You help smaller companies basically have access to some of the same benefits that Fortune 500 companies do. And so when I'm a smaller company in a market and I'm going, how do I compete with the big company? How can I compete with them on their benefits and all these things? And what I know is that's the shortcut, right? So I'm getting access to all of these things that the larger companies have access to. And as a contractor, don't fall into the trap of the amateur right now and go, yeah, but we got all that. The question is, but can it be better?
Right.
Right. And so I
Really,
think it's
really
worth the
good point.
phone call to explore what the benefits of that could look like. So RB, how can partnering with a PEO really help a business grow faster or become more competitive? And we talked a little bit about it just now, but I want to be able to kind of really drive this point home.
The attraction and retention tool becomes you are able to, with your service team and with your benefit package offering, have an offer letter, have career pathing and development, have an on, you can have your HR specialist do a comp survey. If you're hiring somebody in a specific state at a specific job, you can determine what the proper pay is so that you know when you're offering somebody it's going to be competitive.
Mm,
You're going to make sure that you're going to be compliant in that state. So it gives a business owner that peace of mind every night when they lay their head down on the pillow. They don't have to worry about, oh, did I do payroll taxes? Did I submit them on time? All of that kind of stuff. That growth mindset is what we look for in a business owner, taking care of their people and somebody who wants to grow. Maybe they want to sell. So they want to have all of this stuff compliant, buttoned up so they don't have any lawsuits standing out. They get typically a higher multiplier when they go to sell as well.
mm.
So these are all things that we know, and based upon somebody being with a PEO, their times multiplier goes up quite a bit. The ability to hire people and retain them goes up as well because of the benefit package and all of the core and cultural design that we help the business owners with.
Wow. So I kind of feel like you guys come alongside of the business, right? And become an addition to the team, not just another vendor. And I think
We
that's
do.
really the key that we're driving home here is you're not looking to outsource it. What you're looking is you're actually looking to insource it with a partner that makes the most sense for you.
That's very true. We do stand shoulder to shoulder with the business owner as it relates to compliance in our model. If we're screwing up something, we're on the hook for it along with the business owner. So we have a the ability for us and the desire for us to do things compliant is definitely there. Otherwise, we pay for it.
Yeah.
But
And so Insperity, by the way, RB, help us. What's the best way to contact you guys? And by the way, before we jump into that, I do want to say this. Insperity happens to be, for those that are watching, this is a vendor voice that is brought to you by the Blue Collar Success Group. And remember that, well, American Express said it first, but membership does have its privileges. And we do have a relationship with Insperity as the Blue Collar Success Group. So our members, what you're going to do is when you're logged into the vault on the left-hand side, you're going to see Elite Buy. You're going to be able to go in there. You'll find RB and his team's contact to be able to do there. Once again, special discounts, privileges, and things that are available to you through that. But if not, and they're not a member, RB, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
yeah, it literally is our website, insperity.com,
Okay.
and they can do that. For those that are members, they have a specific, our national accounts division. They would reach out to us directly. Chris, I believe you have that contact information, the
Yep.
uh, Insperity, the national account sales at insperity.com email address, and that's how your members would get a hold of us.
Yeah, and that once again, members, this will be through the vault when you're over on the left hand side. But RB, we were catching up here just a little bit, and obviously this has got it's going to make a lot of sense when you see this beautiful background in RB. RB, tell our listeners to a little bit about your background in the professional golf world. Maybe I want to know some more. Tell me some more juicy stuff here.
Well, former PGA member, Class A1 professional at a private country club. So I was a head golf pro at a private country club up in Chicago, a suburb of Chicago called McHenry, Illinois. And McHenry, Illinois is where the founder, Gary Adams, started and invented the metalwood. So he gave it to a tour player back in the 70s. And he said to this tour player, hey, if the club works and it sells well, I'm going to name the company after you. And that fellow was Harry Taylor, the company TaylorMade.
There you go.
And I happened to play I was on TaylorMade staff. And so I ended up being the head pro there for a couple of years. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, heck yeah, RB. That's good stuff. I know that we've got quite a few of our listeners that are heavy into golf and business owners that are looking to find that stress relief to be able to find themselves out on a nice, beautiful golf course, just relaxing and having great conversations. So, RB, thank you so much for joining in today. And don't forget, folks, that vendor voice doesn't happen without closing this thing without what? A fun facts finale. We're going to have some interesting conversations here, so don't leave. We're going to learn more about RB before we bounce. So, RB, I'm going to ask you just a couple of rapid fire questions. We call it our fun facts finale. I always wish I had one of those drum roll buttons I could push right now to kind of tee it up. I don't have one of those, so we're just going to jump straight in. If your life was a documentary, who would you choose to play your role?
Oh gosh, John Wayne.
John Wayne. There you go. If I had to ask the question, favorite book, favorite song, or favorite artist, which one would it be and who is it?
Artist,
Okay.
Led Zeppelin.
Interesting, RB. Have you seen the documentary
Yes,
Becoming Led Zeppelin?
yes.
Oh man, the early days of the Yardbirds and Jimmy Page, and man, those guys were
Fascinating.
just so far ahead of their time. Interesting enough, I'll give you this. Um, there is a small group out of Michigan that you may or may not have heard of, and they're pretty darn good. They're almost like a replica of Led Zeppelin. Do you know who I'm talking about?
The Black Jackets.
No, it's not. Interesting enough, not the Black Jackets, but there's been a lot of people that I feel like have kind of mirrored, if you would, that music and that genre. And I'm going to send you over an email. I'm going to send you over some of their music, RB. I think you're really, really, really going to dig them. They're pretty cool. Um, and it's called Greta Van Fleet. Greta Van Fleet, a bunch of young guys. In fact, how about this? I watched an interview with them, and it's some family members, and the mom, while they were in high school, promoted for them to quit school and go full time. That's how good
Wow.
they are. All right, great. So back to Fun Facts finale. If you could instantly master any skill or hobby, what would it be?
Uh, Playing the guitar.
Playing the guitar. That's definitely a good
I
one.
have no musical ability
Uh,
whatsoever.
you know
I
what I
love
heard?
listening to it, and I think I'm a good singer when the music's turned up really loud, but I can't play guitar.
Okay, well, that's going to be good. If you could do a duet with a karaoke song, who would you choose to do the duet with?
Nora Jones,
Nora Jones. All right. Last one. We're going to do this. If you could swap lives with any animal for a day, which one would it be?
Eagle.
An eagle. Awesome. In fact, RB, maybe I'll find this. We've got a family of bald eagles that live less than a quarter of a mile from my house, and they're always around here in the trees watching and observing. It's just a beautiful, majestic
Wow.
animal. So, RB, by the way, thank you so much, my friend, for being on here today, sharing knowledge about PEOs, how businesses can grow and scale and partner with you guys. Don't forget, another vendor voice brought to you by the Blue Collar Success Group. RB, thank you so much for your time and attention here today and your expertise.
Thank you, Chris. Enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for those of you that are connecting with us by way of video. You're finding value in the videos that we provide for you here on this channel. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. And I want you to remember this. If you've enjoyed this video and you've learned something of value that you can implement into either your business or your personal life or both, and you want to hear more, I want you to stay tuned for this next video.